Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Oh, it's Peroni time for me, a little Leinenkugel and Rattler time for Joe, and we are ready to rock and roll, and it's another edition of Thirsty Thursday, Sense and Nonsense. There's usually more of the latter than the former, but we like to think we're geniuses anyway, even though there's more nonsense generally. The fact check will be a part of proving or disproving that. We live in a crazy world where things aren't getting a heck of a lot better on the one front that we want them to get a heck of a lot better, but on another aspect of it, we're starting to get some sports, and we're going to actually be talking about games and scores and box scores and the like. I don't know how much people actually like box scores anymore, but I actually like to keep score still. So anyway, but you know, some people, if I could tell you, and I probably should have saved this for when Joe's going to come aboard, but I can tell you how many youngins I've been around who really have no clue how to keep score of a baseball game, period. No idea. I mean, zero idea. I could, go on and on. Anyway, going on and on is one thing that we do here, and we'll go on and on about a variety of things, sensible and nonsensical, both, because I don't know if nonsensible is a word. I like nonsensical better anyway. Boy, that was sense and nonsense right there for the opening, and we'll rock and roll coming up next right here.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Visions' goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300.
I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson & Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
All right, Danny, we are back. It is fact check time. How are you?
Well, as you heard, I'm, a little ambivalent, but generally trying to keep upbeat. I'll tell you what, on, what was it, Monday night? Monday night, yes. On Monday night, I stood wrapped. I was washing the dishes, and I stood there, and you won't believe this because I know your general feelings about the sport as watching it total. I stood in front of the television, stood there up close for a while, for a good 15 minutes, and just watched giddily as Lance McCullers delivered pitches to the Kansas City Royals in the first exhibition game. I mean, it was just joyful. Now, I'm not so sure it's as joyful, really, as the real competition I get to enjoy late at night after my wife goes to bed. I generally watch a soccer game because there's a Premier League game or two every day now. And I'm going to go through withdrawal when that stops.
Yeah,
but,
that's...
so that's got me feeling good. That
good.
stuff's
Well,
got me
you
feeling good.
know, we're going to get your energy
How about
up here.
you?
We're going to get your energy. I'm great, Danny.
Great.
It is.
Is that patty cake
It
T-shirt
is.
you got there?
This is show. It says Showtime, which is a terrible nickname.
It is a terrible nickname.
Absolutely awful. But we got to get through this fact check, Danny. I did a
Okay.
lot of work on this.
All right, I want to hear.
We're going to come back to terrible
just
nicknames.
Just the facts, man.
Just the facts, man. So, you decided unilaterally that potatoes were the world's most versatile food last time on the podcast, and then we came to agree that it would be dough. Would be
right.
the most
If
versatile
we
food.
consider dough actually kind of a food, but
So, there's a list. There's multiple
a
lists
list
out
of
there.
of the most versatile foods.
Yes.
I like this.
Okay. So should I go number 1 first? Or?
No, let's go
Go the other way?
Inverse order.
Okay. Number 10, flour. So that's maybe, Number 9, this is great. This is a recurring theme in our podcast. Peanut butter. Peanut butter came in at number 9.
I'll go
So
with
obviously
that.
this is written by an American. Number 8 was frozen vegetables. 7 was rolled oats. This is boring. 6 is garlic and onions. 5 is lentils. Or 6 is lentils. 5 is beans. But number 4, potatoes.
Whoa!
That's
How
what
about
I
me?
know.
How about me?
And number 3 was bananas.
Oh wow! I'm not saying I have a quibble with this.
Well, I thought about it. Driving home today, you can make bread with bananas. You can
True.
mash them. If you roll plantains in there, there's a lot of Cuban food with the. And you can make
I guess
smoothies
that
out of
sounds
it.
like more like an international type of thing. But
Yeah.
I still might opt for the potato in that duel.
Number 2,
I'm saying
banana versus potato.
something almost
Fight to the death.
homoerotic about that. To be honest.
Number 2 was rice.
Oh well, yeah,
Which makes sense, right?
That
Didn't even
makes
think of that.
sense.
And number 1,
Well,
eggs.
yeah.
I mean, eggs are in everything. They're in mayonnaise. They're in
bread.
bread. There you go.
I think that's a pretty good choice.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting.
And the thing that makes that a really good choice is that eggs are in things, and you eat them as are.
Yes,
Or
absolutely.
as are. Sounds like a soccer player's
We
name.
are really off to a flaming start here
Yeah,
today.
it's a good thing we've only had one beer.
Okay, I'm going to get
You're
through
gonna
this.
say speak for yourself. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Well, it's been a long week already, Danny.
Yeah.
So you talked a lot about grass on the last pod. The kind on a golf course, not the
Yes,
kind you
yeah,
smoke.
Right.
And
People don't even call it that anymore.
well, I mean, I think hipsters call it that.
I hear weeds way, way more.
Yeah.
I mean,
Around all the parties you're hanging out with everybody.
just in general. When you're talking about the NBA or people getting suspended or whatever.
Yeah,
Even
Stephen A.
back-
Smith
even
is
back
not
in the
like,
day-
man, he's smoking grass.
Even back in the day, we didn't really call it grass. No, we just called it pot.
Well, in any case, we're talking about the grass at the Masters.
Yes.
So they do overseed with a perennial ryegrass, and they use Oregon ryegrass.
Well, nice.
So now you know.
That is a shame that they don't use good Georgia grasses.
So the next time you're pontificating on
Right.
the grass at the Masters,
It's Oregon.
Oregon ryegrass.
That could come in handy.
All the best grass comes from Oregon. That's what I hear.
On multiple levels, I'm sure.
Let's see here.
Maybe the feds will take it away while
right.
they're there.
Yeah. Ugh, don't get me started. So we were talking about Patty Icicles coming, or I was talking about Patty Icicles coming down from the mount, and you had said that was Jesus.
No, I mean,
And then we corrected
I quickly
to-
corrected.
But so I did a little Bible research, and I grew up, Mennonite, and I knew my Bible pretty well. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of coming down from the mount in the Old Testament. Everybody's coming down from the mount.
So people are, there's more than Moses. Moses wasn't alone.
Yeah, it was a really hip thing to do. It's to come down
There you
from the
go.
mount. So in Matthew 8:1, Jesus comes down from the mount and he heals a leper.
So
Jesus
did come down from the
Exactly.
mount. So technically, I was correct,
Yes, and Exodus 32, 1 to
Jesus.
25.
as we like to call him.
Jebus. Exodus 32, 1 to 25. they make a golden calf out of jewelry, and Moses comes down from the mountain. He breaks the commandments, the tablets he's brought down. I'd forgotten this. It's fascinating. I went down a Bible rabbit hole.
Do you remember the scene? I think it was from Life of Brian, the Monty Python movie, where he has the 10 Commandments.
Yeah,
and then he
not
keeps
Life of Brian.
he keeps. No, which one is it?
That's History of the World Part 2.
History of the World Part. That's
fantastic.
right. That's right. Yes.
And he draw I bring you the 15.
The 10,
the 10
right,
commandments.
Right. I should have known that. I'm a big Mel Brooks fan, although, the Mel Brooks movies sort of went in a complete descending order of quality in my mind. But still funny. Mel's always funny. But
History of the World Part 2. That's my favorite
that was
Mel
funny.
Brooks movie.
Really?
Yeah, I watched that as a kid. Well, I was way too young to be watching it. We had a VHS tape of it or something.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, I planned on playing Year of the Cat as you walk downstairs here, but it's been a little hectic. We got a little late start.
Oh, okay.
So I listened to it.
Do you actually have some guilty pleasures?
Oh, I'm going to go over some guilty pleasure songs here in a minute.
That sounds good.
But I listened to Year of the Cat, and yeah, that's it's catchy enough to be a good song, but it is a little bit effeminate, a little bit. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll
give you that.
Yeah, I also listened to Love Is All Around.
Oh, that's just a fantastic song.
And you said it was on the UK charts as #1 for 40 weeks on the last podcast.
It was 15 weeks.
15 weeks, exactly.
Then I think maybe it was 15, then it got knocked off, then it maybe went on.
Oh, yeah, it stayed in the top 40 for years.
Well, one of the wet, wet, wet version was on the... I mean, there have been multiple versions of it that have been charting in England. That was when I wrote the blog about the Guilty Pleasure songs, the wet, wet, wet version, which is in 4 Weddings and a Funeral, which I don't really like that much. It's okay, but it was played so much in the UK that the band requested that they stopped playing.
Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah. So I tried to look up the specifics of that story, and then I got stuck in the Bible rabbit hole, and so the time that I had allotted to the fact check,
you're really going to be thunderstruck calling it a Bible rabbit hole.
So anyway, that is basically the fact check.
That's a pretty good fact check right there.
It was
like
pretty
that
fun.
One.
Thank
I
you.
like that one.
So, guilty pleasure songs.
All right.
Okay.
All right. This is going to be great because I think this is a wonderful topic, and I actually did this on a podcast, our music podcast last week with Tim Finn.
Oh, really?
From the Kansas City Star, and he made a really good point. He said that he really had pretty much eliminated guilty pleasure songs or music from his lexicon because he thinks that there's no real reason for you to apologize.
Gosh
for
darn it,
music
Danny, you're tearing away my point before I can even make it.
That you like. No, that's his point. I still do think that there are songs you're going to sit there and go, I'm not going to tell my buddies I like this song.
Well, here's the problem. I went to do this, to put this list together, and it was way harder than I thought it was going to be.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And so I called my wife, and I'm like, hey, what's a song that's embarrassing that I like? And she said, well, it's going to be hard because I don't think you're embarrassed by any song that you listen to. Because I'm like, whatever, eat it. I'm putting this on, and I like it.
But there must be songs where she's going, all right, really?
Well, she gave me some examples.
Oh, there we go. Well, that's good. This is going to be great.
So, Follow You Home by Nickelback. It's the first song on
and you
one
just
of their albums.
Torched Nickelback in a recent
Oh, yeah, they're
edition.
garbage, but I love it so much.
There you go.
There's this song called Drink a Beer by Luke Bryant about his buddy dying, and he's sitting there drinking a beer. It's awful. That one I maybe am a little bit embarrassed about. Basically, everything that Florida Georgia Line has ever made.
I abhor that band. I think they're dreadful.
Well, there you go.
And in fact, the first time I heard one of their big songs, and I believe me, I think I've just purged them from my mind, at a Chiefs practice. And then I went on the air, and I got it. I think I inverted the name of the band. I called them
Georgia
Florida Line or whatever. I don't know. And I think they just suck.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, so I run in the
But their banker doesn't think they suck.
No, No. I run in these like red dirt country circles where it is very not okay to like any basically top 40 country music, right?
Like
And-
the aforementioned Tim Finn from the Star is a big sort of traditional country music fan, even though he's more of a rock person. But that's one of his not guilty pleasures, but one of his pleasures. And he's not so much for the modern country radio.
Yeah, and I'm not either. It's just when I'm in a certain mood, like, you know, if I'm driving the boat or I'm hanging out on the water, we're having a couple pops,
Right.
play something stupid that is just about drinking beer or whatever. Like, that's what that is for me. So, like, of course, I think that, you know, Steve Earle and, you know, Cross Canadian Ragweed and Turnpike Troubadours are all vastly superior musicians and bands and songwriters to Florida Georgia Line, but there's a time and a place for it in my mind, and that's my guilt. That's what makes it a guilty pleasure, right?
Oh yeah, that is a perfect example, because that's the kind of thing where if you're at it, you know, everybody's had a few or a dozen, and it's hot, and you know,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of the gals are around. Everybody's just putting their hands in the air like they don't care. And yes, if something's fun, that's what it's all about.
So I have a Jeep that has no top, no doors. It's just a
that sounds like a Florida Georgia Line
no.
song.
It's well, no.
My Jeep
It's
has no top.
It's the opposite. When I'm in my Jeep, I have to be very. I try. I don't have to, but I'm very careful about what I'm listening to because I don't want to listen to something embarrassing. Because everybody.
Right.
So that was my rubric was like, am I willing to listen to it in the
Right.
Jeep? Right. So there's no Florida Georgia Line. in the
Have
Jeep.
you ever done this? You're driving down the road, and you're just really you got someone
Jamming.
that's your jam.
Yeah.
It is your freaking jam, and you stop at a red light, and you just open the window so everybody else has to enjoy.
Do you do that?
I've done that. Oh, yeah, I've certainly done that. You know, absolutely, positively. You know, playing "The Real Me" by the Queen, by the Who, which is one of my absolutely favorite songs, and I'll just windows down, eat it.
You're that person, huh?
I have been
No,
that-
I'm the person that rolls my windows up when I get to the stop sign or the stoplight when I'm jamming. Most of the time.
certain times. I'm just like, you don't know how great this song
Yeah,
is.
let me
and
enlighten
let
you.
me enlighten you.
I got
Yes.
it. I guess if it's a good song, maybe, but not if it's
No,
Florida
not
Georgia Line.
not a guilty pleasure.
So would Peace Train enter?
I think Peace Train is a good song. But I think that there probably are people who think that, you know, anything by Cat Stevens is a little on the Al Stewart
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
road.
So we had this car in high school that my buddy Wyatt had, and we would paint it for this season. I just thought of this story. We would paint it for whatever season it was. So for 4th of July, we would spray paint the car like an American flag.
All right.
For Christmas, we would spray paint it like
Not a Confederate flag.
no, not like a Confederate flag, but it was a Mazda 626, like an 84,
Right.
and we called it the Mazda Lee. So
There you
in
go.
that way,
So
so for like Christmas, we would paint it like a reindeer and paint a basketball red and nail it to the front of the car. Anyway,
oh wow, like the nose.
yes.
Did you? Oh yeah. Okay.
So we used to jump this car. This is like an 84 Mazda 66, and there was this spot out on Buckskin Road where if you hit it doing about 45, I mean, you would get air. 4 tires off the ground.
Right.
Right? Well, the radio was broken in this car,
Ooh.
and there was a cassette stuck in the cassette tape player.
Couldn't get it out.
Couldn't get it out. You
But
know
it was
what?
T for the Tillerman or something?
You know what it was?
It was Cat.
It was Cat
Well, it was a
Stevens'
T for
greatest
T,
hits.
Cat. Well, you could have done worse.
Yeah, but so you're trying to get yourself amped up to go jump this car, and it's like, come aboard the peace train, you know?
Right. Well, you'll probably be surprised by this, but I actually have driven a car 125 miles an hour and gotten it airborne
At that speed?
at that speed.
Ooh, that's dangerous.
And it was a wood-paneled station wagon.
Oh, dude.
8 cylinders of rocking Chevy or whatever. I
They
don't even-
can go.
Well, we used to go forth. This will be sort of a full circle moment. We used to be forced to go to this Bible study a couple of towns away in Hopkinton, Massachusetts. It's where the Boston Marathon starts. And coming out of that town, driving back to Framingham, where I lived, which is about a 15-mile drive, something like that, it was straight downhill. I mean, this road was straight downhill and straight for 2 miles. And we used to come out of Bible study.
Put it to the floor.
And just go with this insane, and there was a little rise in the road about halfway, and it was straight after that. So it was relatively safe. So I got it to where the speedometer was maxed.
I love those old Woody station wagons. I tried to talk my wife into letting me get one and get it tricked out and restored fully for our family car.
Right.
The back seat faced backwards, and you could roll that back window down.
Right.
Oh, and the doors open sideways, not up, like on the back door. Would swing open.
Right.
We used to throw papers out of one of those old Woodies.
Yeah, we used to deliver papers sitting on, the papers would be in the back, and we'd just sit on because you didn't drive fast while you're delivering papers, and we'd sit on the back with it down.
Yeah.
And so you were just riding along, wildly illegal, I'm sure. But, I'll try to do this fast. My dad was a TV news anchor man. He either had a great job or he had no job. And so we would go through periods where we'd kind of need to maintain. We've talked about the food we had to eat and all that stuff. Well, we got one of those Woody station wagons at one point. No, we had to keep it, and it was, getting up there. And I don't know who decided this. We painted it this hideous blue color.
Had the car painted?
Yeah, we had it painted.
Did you keep the Woody sides?
No. Just painted over them.
Travesty.
Anyway, so literally the back of it was kind of rotting out way back, and we had a big family, so you'd sit in the way back sometimes, and there was a hole in the bed.
Yeah, you could see down. You could see the road.
Yeah, you could see the road, which was either alternately terrifying or cool. I don't know, but anyway.
My very first vehicle I drove was my dad's old 74 Ford Custom, and it had a hole in the driver's side floor where you could see the road go by, and it got so bad that it was hard to get in and out of the truck, so we found an old yield sign and welded it to the bottom of the truck. And this
sounds like a good plan. It sounds like you could put your foot down there like Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, exactly. It was about that bad. Oh, yeah.
You know what? We have taken so many diversions right now. I think it's a good time to stop.
Sounds good.
And then refuel for me. My Peroni is about to run out. Nastro Azzurro. Maybe we need a fact check. I have zero idea what that means, but I know that the Italian...
Is that Italian or is that Latin?
Italian national soccer team was always called the Azzurri.
Oh.
So, and I think that is correct because I was watching a soccer game this morning, the sporting game.
Yeah.
And the opponent on Real Salt Lake, older guy,
he had played there. I heard that.
Yeah, the Azzurri. So I think that's right. But I don't know what Nastro Azzurro means. So that's a good fact check. That's a good fact check for next week. I mean, next edition, whenever the hell that is. But we know the second half of this epic performance is coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Let's spend a minute with Dr. Brad Woodle, who, along with his wife, Dr. Christina Woodle, the owners of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture, my home for chiropractic care. And first of all, just tell us about the wide range of services you offer.
Danny, we offer comprehensive chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapy, and rehab. We do a very thorough examination, x-rays on site as necessary, and we have a full rehabilitation department, so we can help out with exercises, stretches, different therapies for the complex, but also the very simple conditions we treat.
You have been deemed essential and have remained open all through this COVID-19 process. What are some of the things you've done to make sure that was the case?
From the very beginning, in March, we started to make sure that we were cleaning and sanitizing with EPA-registered sanitizing products. We also implemented masks way before the state required them. We implemented a parking lot waiting room, took out half of the chairs in our waiting room, and made sure to space out visits so we could appropriately meet, discuss, and also screen patients to make sure we were taking care of healthy people.
Find out more about Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture and how they can help you at asfca.com. We're visiting with Larry Marshall, former Chiefs defensive back and punt returner and now a Chiefs ambassador. Larry is a former pro football player with the aches and pains that come with that, and moving on in age as we all are. What do the Canaway CBD products do for you?
It's been a great relief for me. Being a punt and kickoff returner, collisions were a mainstay of my career, and these Canaway products, the salve especially, has really helped me try to get through every day with the aches and pains that I've had over a career of 7+ years in the NFL.
I get similar benefits as well, particularly with my back. Certainly wasn't a football player. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information about the great products themselves?
Well, I'm so enthused about it, Dana. If they just contact me at larrymarshall.canaway.com, and I can give them all the information they need to help them get through the day as well.
Start gaining all the benefits that Larry and I do from the trusted and reliable line of Canaway products. As Larry said, visit larrymarshall.canaway.com and get information on all the great products from Canaway. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. After what I found a delightful first segment of Thirsty Thursdays, Sense and Nonsense, with almost all nonsense, which is great, I'm about to enjoy a KC Beer Company. Come on, do the German.
It's a Hefeweizen?
There you go. Very good.
Ooh, das Hefeweizen.
Very, very good. I like that. That was almost a little fey in itself. There's people out there going, what the hell does that word mean? Well, just Google it.
Yeah, it's Feye, right?
No, it's Fey, I believe. But there's another fact check.
Oh, you're so giddy.
There is
more work for me.
There is another fact check right there. So, what's up, Joe?
What's up, Danny? You know
you wanted to talk about county fairs a
That's
little
right.
more.
We talked a little bit last time about county fairs, and you turned your nose up at them?
No, I did not turn my nose up at them. What I will tell you is that in growing, and I'll let you get into your county fairs because I had none. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. When I grew up in Massachusetts, and you really didn't. Counties were nobody. There was nothing about your county. The only time you knew what county you even lived in was when you filled out some kind of form that required it. Because we lived, it was one town to the next, to the next, to the next. I lived in Framingham. I lived in suburban Massachusetts. I lived in Framingham. If you drove down the Mass Pike, as it's called there, the Massachusetts Turnpike, to Boston, it's only we only live 18 miles to Boston. And you'd go through 13 communities.
Yeah.
So there was no aspect of the county. There were no county fairs. So I experienced 0 county fairs as a youth.
But you went to one. You went to a district
fair. But it was that was right. I mean, I was a man of advanced age at this. But it was part of the aftermath of the wonderful trip I took that is the subject in part of Leaving Cancer for the Circus, because every single little town I went to, basically I think all but one ended up by happenstance being the county seat.
Yeah, because it's the only well, it's not happenstance. It's the only town in the county that has anything.
Right. So that was sort of the aspect of I wanted to be off, no interstates, off the beaten track, but there had to be a decent motel, maybe a golf course, whatever. So anyway, that was the case. And the other part was every morning when I rode my bike before I decided where I was going next, I rode through the county fairgrounds.
Yeah, the fairgrounds.
And it was late May, early June, so I sort of said to myself, boy, and it wasn't fair time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, a little later. So I got to do that. I got to
do.
So then I ended up going to the district fair.
What was your favorite part of the district fair?
38 Special.
Okay.
Definitely.
So what was
but the other part of was the...
It's okay to say the band because
oh no, it's absolutely was
it's a huge reason to go.
I rode a Ferris wheel, which I hadn't done ever in a day. I had a corn dog, which I had never had.
Which is such a travesty.
And it was okay. I was not.
Was it a Pronto Pup?
What?
A Pronto Pup.
I don't. All I know is there were at least
6 kiosks that were selling corn dogs of
They're not kiosks.
various sizes.
Okay.
All right, explain this turbo dog.
Hold
or
on,
whatever
hold
it is.
on. No, Pronto Pop is what it is. But
Pronto
no, hold on.
Pop.
What was your least favorite part about this district fair?
For sure, it was these 2 kiosks that are right across from each other, and if you were of a certain political persuasion, this isn't going to make you very happy, but across from each other there was a sunglass hut. Okay. Sunglass hut. All they were selling was sunglasses. That was it.
Oh, but it's not an actual sunglass hut. They're selling like gas station sunglasses, right?
Some were kind of nice, whatever.
All right.
But anyway, it was sported a sign up front that said "Get your sunglasses" and a fancy ass Confederate flag.
Oh,
and
get your sunglasses so you can stare at the sun.
Right, and then across the way there was a kiosk that was selling wooden hand-carved handguns for your for the kiddo.
It's easier to get through the metal detector with that, Danny.
I guess. So, I mean, they weren't real guns, but it was like here's a little souvenir of your trip to the county, to the district fair.
Well,
your wooden handgun.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with a handgun souvenir, Danny. I may have taken a handgun souvenir from time to time from a place.
I mean, I've had a water pistol, too. I'm just like, the message was not good to me. But
I grew up
that was the worst part. But in general, I loved the entire experience.
I grew up right outside of Hutchinson, Kansas, which is where the state fair is,
right.
Which is next level shit. Okay,
right, that's big.
It's big time. So we were very lucky. So we got to go to the state fair whenever we wanted to, right? When it was fair time.
Right.
So we get to go as many times as we wanted. Whereas if you lived out in western Kansas, you'd come in for the night or whatever, right?
One day, all right.
And I got to tell you, man, it was like a big friggin' deal. And I wanted to just relate to you some of the anecdotes that I was thinking about after I listened to our podcast where you brought up fairs.
Right.
So I grew up, do you know what a Holderman is?
No clue. By the way, you haven't gotten to the Turbo Dog or whatever.
It's a Pronto
Pup.
Turbo Dog is the beer from
right.
from Nolans. Okay,
right.
So here's the deal. A Holderman is like, you know what an Amish person is, right?
Yes.
Okay, and a Mennonite.
Uh-huh.
Okay, a Holderman's in between. So Mennonites is like how I grew up. We drove cars and had TVs. An Amish person doesn't get a telephone or electricity or anything.
They have those little buggies.
A Holderman is in between, like my grandparents were. So like they could have a TV, but only for the weather, and they could have a car, but there could be no radio.
Like Episcopalians.
I don't know what that is. Anyway,
sort of a generic. Sorry, Episcopalians. I apologize.
Was that Catholic Light or something?
Kinda, yeah. I would go there.
Okay,
yeah.
So they would sew their own clothes and wear the bonnets, and all that. And there was no makeup,
But TV to watch the weather.
For the weather, because a lot of them were farmers.
Farmers, right?
So
did they sneak in a little Jackie Gleason or something?
I don't know. Not my grandparents.
Dragnet. No, they stayed true to this.
Oh yeah,
only the weather.
I don't ever remember my grandpa
football
ever watching any sports. He wore a gray shirt and gray pants every day of his life. That's as far as I know.
Like gray work pants?
Yeah, they're like the exact same color. Just simple
like
cotton.
Uniform,
simple cotton, yeah. Look, Danny, I come from...
Was he...
I come from Mennonite stock.
I come from humble stuff.
So, anyway, but these
Mennonite
girls would show up to the fair and they'd go into the little hut that was like the little porta potty, but they were permanent, like bathrooms. So they'd walk in with a duffel bag in their homemade clothes and the bonnet.
Right.
No makeup.
And they'd come out.
Mini skirt, tube top.
State fair hot.
That's exactly right.
State fair hoe.
So anyway.
And they were probably looking for some fun.
They're looking for a good time. There's no doubt about it. And so
I just have to ask.
No, I never did.
Never got lucky with the Mennonite transformation girls.
No, I never did. But you could tell who they were. The makeup was not done well. It was like, and that's not why. It just it never worked out for me. I'm not sure I ever tried.
Oh, okay.
You know, it was probably too easy. I like a challenge, Danny.
That's bullshit on parade.
So anyway, and then there would be this midway with just, you know, the games where you got to try to shoot the basketball, but the hoop is like misshapen to make it impossible. And
right.
So one time, this guy in my class was playing this throw the baseballs and knock the bottles over, right?
Sure.
And he was a big, strong dude. He was bigger than the rest of us, you know. He'd advanced early or whatever. We're in like 7th or 8th grade. And he's just dropping money to try to impress this girl. And he knocks over a bunch of them. He spent like $20 at this point, which is...
Did he get even like a nice bear or something?
So it's an amazing amount of money to spend back then, to spend $20, right?
Yes. It's like 100.
So he wins, and the guy's like, the carny, it's like, ding, 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 we got a winner. And he reaches underneath the counter, and he pulls out a dowel rod about 2 feet long, skinny little one, with a feather taped to the end of it. And he hands it to Jesse across the counter.
Oh, uh-oh.
And Jesse's like, what is this? And he goes, son, that is a genuine, grade A American piece of shit.
$20?
And then
didn't he have like some bears or something?
He certainly did. And then he turned around and walked away. Because these carnies would get a cut. And so they're going to take you for whatever they can take you for. And they make the rules up as they go. You'd walk by at one time and they'd say, oh, you win, you get the big prize. And you walk by another time and they're like, you win, you get the little prize. I mean, it's just dog eat dog in the carny world. You know, they got 3 or 4 teeth in their whole head, you know.
Wow.
Anyway, and then there'd be rides, right? So these rickety ass.
Safe. No doubt. Well inspected. Well, at least it was a state fair. I mean, at least it wasn't, you know, like Shawnee Town when you go down there now. You're like,
yes.
When you're going from, you know, Great Bend, you know, next to the little town ones, that's got to be real dicey.
I'm telling you, man, they would.
And we think nothing.
I know.
I mean,
we just get on them.
Bring your kids, whatever.
Yeah,
sure.
Jump on there, buddy. They would set up a roller coaster, a real deal roller coaster every year, and then take it down. How are we getting on this roller coaster?
I don't know.
Anyway, and then that was also the only time of year that we ever had any decent musical acts come. You know what I mean?
So, like, State Fair was generally good.
So we're talking the 90s. I saw Dwight Yoakam. I saw Leonard Skinner, what was left of him back then, which was more than now.
Right.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, a big State
Journey,
Fair.
you know, like there was some
State
decent
Fair,
acts.
but, you know, so you go to little fairs now. That's when you see the country act who had one hit.
Exactly,
back in, you know. No, Stand By Your Man. That's a bad example. But
that's a terrible example.
A terrible example. No, but somebody else singing it.
Yes.
Some woman who had one hit, no repertoire.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
singing.
absolutely. So some of it just really got me thinking about some of my fondest memories were State Fair, and that you should really continue to explore your fair.
Oh, I absolutely.
Have you ever been to a demolition derby?
No.
Do you know what a demolition derby is?
They used to show them on Wide World of Sports when I was
would
a
they?
kid. Yeah, from
okay.
Islip Motor Speedway. That'll resonate with this audience. They're in black and, you know, do you even know what Wide World of Sports is?
I do, but not because I remember
McKay.
it.
Yeah.
Just
like the only reason people probably have some associate if you follow sports, you know that Sean McManus is, I think, the president of CBS Sports still. His father was Jim McKay, the host of Wide World of Sports.
Oh, okay.
And they used to do all kinds of different, you know, they did Acapulco cliff diving.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long these things were before, but a recurring one was the biggest demolition derby in America, which was the one in Islip Motor Speedway. So
where's Islip Motor Speedway at?
In Long Island.
Okay.
So, yeah, I watched him. You know, you'd watch him. It looked like a terrific event.
Oh, there's nothing better.
But you'd watch. So you're watching a low end. You know,
well, at the state fair they were great, but you go to, say, the Douglas County Fair, like we went back when I was at KU, and we went to one of those demolition derbies.
Those cars were wrecked coming in.
So you're behind like a horse fence, like just like a.
Oh, I know.
I mean, you're not behind much, and these cars are just destroying each other.
I remember the only time I've sort of had an experience like that, I had a really great friend in college, Rick Bailey, friend of the podcast, and great guy. And he lived in Marshall, Missouri. Pomme de Terre, that lake.
Yeah.
We used to water ski down there. And there's a dirt track down there.
Okay.
And we went to dirt track racing, and we sat in the front row. And it was pretty exciting. I liked it, but it was like you literally got dirt on you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of those tires comes off and comes over, you're done for.
You're probably
There's
done
an element of danger to the...
So the demolition derby sounds even worse. Because crap's flying off those cars.
The cars would just light on fire and crap, and people got to climb out.
All right, so could you get to the damn dog?
The Pronto Pup.
The Pronto Pup.
So the Pronto Pup is scientifically proven the most delicious corn dog on the planet. Okay, and
is this like the hot pocket of
It's just a regular corn dog.
Well, I figured it was called Pronto Pup because they can make it quick.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure there's any proprietary technology that speeds up the cooking of it.
It says pronto. Pronto means fast.
Well, I know, Danny, but I think it's just the alliteration. Pup.
Pronto.
Right?
Pronto Pup.
Want yourself
so
a
that
pup?
was the best one?
Oh, Danny. You got to have one. We had it at my prom. We had Pronto Pups at my prom.
Wow. Now, I love, here's a topic we can maybe finish with, who knows. I love mustard, so I'll eat almost anything with mustard.
Yeah.
And that was the best part of the corn dog. Because, I'm not a sweet and salty person.
Really?
No, not at all. Hate
Danny,
it.
we could not be any more farther apart.
And so
chocolate-covered pretzels?
Yeah. I don't really but like right from a young age, Cracker Jack.
Yeah.
Didn't not that was the first sweet and salty really in your life in my generation
back in the 1800s.
But right, exactly. And it was so disappointing too because baseball, Cracker Jack, whatever.
Yeah, it's in the song, damn it.
And I like popcorn. But there is a certain sweet and salty to the corn dog.
There is, yeah.
Yeah. So
and then you add the ketchup and the mustard, and you've got some vinegar in there too. Yeah.
Ketchup and mustard?
Oh, yeah.
You can't besmirch a hot dog.
It's not a hot dog. It's a corn dog, Danny.
Oh, okay. So are you? Please tell me you don't like ketchup on a hot dog.
Ketchup guy right here.
What?
Ketchup guy.
On a hot dog?
You're damn tootin'. All right, listen.
No mustard?
Oh, no, I'll go mustard sometimes. But if I'm going mustard, I usually go no ketchup.
So it's one or the other?
It is, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. It's just a crime scene.
For me, the hot dog topping, it's all about the onions. You need some fresh chopped onions on that thing. You go to Costco, $1.50, you got yourself a soda, big old hot dog.
Soda, listen to you. Did you grow up in Boston?
You know what's funny about that? Is that growing up, we called it pop.
Right.
Right?
Everybody calls it pop.
Well, I made, it was one of my, stupid things when I decided to go to college and become,
sophisticated.
Exactly. Oh, well, I'm going to call it soda, not pop. And I just trained my brain to do it, and now I catch more crap for calling it soda.
I mean, when I came out here to go to college, and people started, first of all, there were two things. I went to the grocery store, and they'd say, do you want a sack? And I'd be like, what, am I going after the quarterback? I really didn't know. I thought you were going to serve me up some potatoes or something.
Really?
Instead of a bag. And then the other one was pop.
Yeah.
And they said, well, would you like a pop? And I'm like, are you going to hit me? Because it was totally soda where I was.
Yeah. So I made myself start saying soda.
Saying soda, so you're a soda sophisticate.
Yes, right. Sophisticated.
Soda, you put the soda in a drink. Not soda in a drink, not as a drink.
Yeah. Well, I've known to have one.
About ready for one now, right?
That's right.
All right. Well, I certainly put you to the challenge this week. It's going to be a fun-filled fact check next time around.
And I challenge you, if we ever get over this virus, to go to the Kansas State Fair. Take Jane.
No.
Go to the Kansas State Fair.
Why don't we go together?
Ooh, buddy.
Or as a couples?
I'll get you a Pronto Pup.
I promise to eat the Pronto Pup.
Oh, well then, deal.
Maybe next time we actually can work one sports element to the. We never seem to do it.
Well, Sporting looked terrible and disappointing and was garbage, and they gave it up late, and then they look great today.
I don't know if that was a bad game. Didn't you?
Today?
Didn't you think so? I watched the whole damn thing while I was working out.
I
thought
did
it was
too.
pretty flat. First half was okay, but
I thought for a 9-8
second half was.
For a 9 a.m. game, I thought they did pretty well, and they didn't crap the bed, which you could tell they were nervous.
Right.
That they were going to crap the bed.
Right.
They need to write a new story. Like they were. Actually, I thought the commentary was pretty good today.
I liked Taylor Twellman. So we're actually working a little sports in there, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people who don't like him because I think he does try to be purposely provocative.
You think?
Yeah, I do, but I like it.
I like that he can shut up, right, and just like let the game happen a little bit. I like that about him, and I'm excited that the Bundesliga is going to go to ESPN next year because
more exposure, easier to see.
Yeah, and Fox Sports they didn't even have halftime shows half the time. It's just garbage, just garbage. What are you doing?
I do like some of the Fox. I like Alexi Lalas.
I love the Fox coverage when they actually friggin' do it.
Right.
And
the Royals are starting. We're going to be able to talk baseball.
Yes, and I'm going to do my best to actually watch.
Oh, that's right. And maybe we'll have football of the pro variety. We'll see.
Yeah, there's not going to be any college football, is there?
Joe, let's have a toast.
Cheers.
To next time.
That
was a good loud one to finish.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.